Hello everyone. Just adjusting here. Hope you're doing well. Colleen Patrick-Goudreau, vegan author, animal advocate, and I'm here in California. I was going to go outside to do this video, and then I thought, are you mad? It's like 55 degrees, which is freezing. Here, that is cold. So I'm inside in the warmth of my living room with the sun actually just warming me, and I'm very happy. So you can go to joyfulvegan.com. I have been writing so much. My eyes are red. I'm so compelled to produce, and I feel like I have the space to do so, which I did not have last year. So I am writing like a mad woman. You can go to joyfulvegan.com. You can see all of my recent blog posts on zero waste living. And of course, I would love any questions you have about that. I am working on a podcast episode on zero waste living. It's overwhelming. The entire topic is overwhelming. So just like with veganism, I have to break it down. And that could mean that I'll be finished episodes on zero waste in 2030 because there's so much to say, and I'm getting so many questions from all of you about it, which is wonderful. But this is obviously your opportunity to ask me here, and of course let me know where you're from. And I've been working very hard on the conference content, and I'm excited to keep doing that. That's the kind of the impetus of the question I posed to you today. You're always asking me questions. Maybe I have a question for you. And then, of course, lots of good things. And then today I submitted to my editor at National Public Radio my newest editorial. And I really lamented I wanted to get an editorial out in January. I did not have the bandwidth to do that. So I just submitted it today, and it's on animal cruelty in the tourism industry. And you can actually listen to the podcast episode I did on that after our trip to Thailand. And then as a good segue, the Forbes, Katrina Fox wrote a beautiful piece on vegan travel for Forbes.com, and we are featured, and I'm so honored. This is all coming together so organically, and we put so much thought. I cannot tell you how many hours all of us who are producing CPG vegan trips put into the thought, the planning, there's so many intricacies, as you can imagine, inviting 20 to 25 people on a trip with you. There are a lot of things to think about. So we spend hours and hours and hours talking and planning and working. And I am so grateful that Katrina reached out to us, and we are featured in this beautiful article about all of the wonderful vegan travel companies and how we're all unique. We're all doing different things, and ours is very, very conducive to the ethical aspect. Not that the other vegan companies aren't, obviously, but really we try to incorporate visits to animal sanctuaries and rehabilitation centers, and of course that's going to play into all of our upcoming trips, or most of our upcoming trips. Thank you, Angela, and I want to hear from you and what questions you have, and of course where you're from. And yeah, we have our second Rwanda trip. So if you haven't heard the news, we sold out of the first Rwanda trip in 48 hours. And now, because we're insane and because we want to please you, we decided to stick around and stay in Rwanda for another 12 days or however, well, really 2 weeks, because we'll take a couple days in between, and offer a second trip. So I have to sneeze. No, didn't come. Okay, so if you're interested in joining us for Rwanda in 2019, you can still do so. It's now in early July. Alsace is filling up, but I'm putting the pressure on all of you. If you want to have a magical fairyland Christmas trip with us to France and the Alsace region, and of course going over to Germany as well, in the Black Forest and Baden-Baden, it is going to be magical, and this is our time to spend Christmas together. There are slots, and we need to fill them. So we have between 4 and 6. It's all happening very quickly. I have to go look at the spreadsheet, but we'd love you to join us. And there are lots of different options for accommodations, and that's that. And then, of course, we just actually got a request for some folks who are interested in Vietnam. There are some slots left for Vietnam as well. So what else can I say? This is abundance management at its finest. So I saw Tina there, who said she's very excited for the conference. Tina has come with us to Thailand. Tina has been to the Compassion in Action conference. She's coming again this year. I really encourage everyone to sign up for the Compassion in Action conference. There's so much to talk about when it comes to compassion in general, when it comes to compassion as animal advocates, when it comes to compassion for fellow human beings, even those who are undeserving of compassion in our minds. There's so much to talk about related to how to quite literally put your compassion into action. And the reason I put the question out as I did is because the difference between something like empathy or altruism or philanthropy or kindness, the difference between all of those things and compassion is significant. There is a huge difference. And one of them is that we're willing to stand in that witness, bearing witness to suffering, that we acknowledge it, that we see that there is suffering, that we're willing to look. And for many of us who have become vegan, it was a result of bearing witness. It was a result of witnessing the suffering that animals endure. And then the second component of compassion is actually wanting to alleviate that suffering. So built into compassion is action. And we'll be unpacking that and parsing that out and certainly continuing to define that. But that's why I say, because we don't talk about compassion enough in our society, and because I think it's been allocated over to the religious realm, which is why I talk about compassion constantly in the secular realm, we don't really talk about compassion, actually the component being action. And in order to be able to take that action, we have to, as I said, first bear witness, but we also have to practice compassion in order for it to be manifested in our behavior. Does that make sense? And do you have any questions? I'm offering you the opportunity to ask any you have. Tina says, I was in the grocery store today and looked around and noticed all the plastic. It's everywhere. Suggestions for shopping if you do not live where there are farmers markets. Definitely, Tina. And I've been talking about farmers markets a lot because we just live in California and we are very lucky because we live in the agricultural capital of the United States, that we have a farmers market literally year round, any day of the week within a few miles of my house. Now, there are only a few that I tend to go to, but that's why I talk about farmers markets. But I'm always mindful of people who don't live in the same area. So forgive me if I've made it seem that the options are farmers markets or, everybody has to move to California. That's not the case. So there are plenty of markets and grocery stores that do carry and sell produce that's not wrapped in plastic. And I so appreciate that you're even noticing it, because that's definitely the first step in all of this. It's the first step. Again, we all experience becoming vegan is the first thing is we actually are aware of what's happening. When you start to look through the lens of veganism and zero waste veganism, you see it everywhere, and it really is striking. So one of the things that's happening is that it's really forcing me to say, if it's between blueberries that are wrapped in plastic or strawberries, that's just in a little paper basket or a cardboard basket, or apples that are not wrapped in any kind of plastic, although some apples are, obviously they put them in bags, then the choice that I make is about, I can still have apples and they're still nutritious and they're really good for me. I'll get apples instead of blueberries. So maybe, so I'll make apple muffins instead of blueberry muffins, right? Vegetables, same thing. So same thing. I mean, and this is also about a relationship with our stores. It's also forced me, again, I keep calling myself like a mindful, thoughtful person. I forgot about grocery stores that were in my area that actually do have more variety or just additional options. So I would encourage you to just first look at other places that might carry what you're looking for. I'd be curious to know exactly what vegetables you're finding tend to be more wrapped in plastic. Maybe there are, especially as the weather turns, there are community-supported agriculture options around you as well, where you can get boxes direct from farms if there's not a farmer's market very close by or regularly. So I would check out some other stores. I would see if there are other options at stores. I would talk to your grocer. You never know. There might be some things that they can do differently. I would just look at what the options are. So, I mean, I'm thinking of Trader Joe's. To me, is the biggest culprit when it comes to plastic. When I think about there are a lot of like regular grocery stores, and I'm not even talking about Whole Foods. I'm talking about there's local stores like Farmer Joe's near us and Sprouts near us, and what else? Safeway. I mean, there are other chain stores and local stores that do carry produce, obviously. And then it gets really tricky because sometimes organic produce is actually in plastic where the non-organic option might not be. The point is, as I always say, even around anything, is that we do our best, right? We do the best we can. And as consumers, the more we push the businesses to make better, more conscious choices, then we're having an impact that other people can also benefit from. So it's up to us to kind of ask our grocers, like, hey, I noticed that you used to have carrots that weren't in plastic bags. Do you think you could look into a vendor? They might say, we actually were thinking of switching vendors, but you making this comment, that's actually all we needed was a little push. You just never know. So talking to your grocers, but also just thinking about what other places might be around you. It might mean changing the way you shop. I mean, this isn't about turning your life topsy-turvy. It's about just continuing to be as conscious as possible. But maybe it's that when you go to the grocery store, you find has more plastic-free options, you spend a little more time there and go there less frequently rather than going to a store that's closer by more frequently. So without knowing exactly what you're challenged with in your area, those are just a couple thoughts. I hope that helps. But it is about doing the best we can. It is not about being perfect. Once you start to look through that lens, you see what we can do differently. And especially bulk items, same thing. There are many stores that have bulk sections. And when I say bulk shopping, I'm not talking about going to the large, big box stores, they're called. I don't even know what they're called. I don't know what they're called. But I'm talking about going to the bulk bins. And you can find them in so many places, and especially kind of more like natural food stores might have the bulk bins more than a big grocery store. But I'm just seeing more and more grocery stores carry bulk items. And I'm not just talking in California. I do travel enough to see it in other places. And again, we as consumers are the ones that push the businesses to make the decisions that keep you as customers. So don't forget your power as a consumer. We really do have the option to at least have a conversation. Joanne says, hi, Colleen, just wondering what you think of the Go Vegan billboard bus shelter campaign in Ireland. Would such action work in the U.S.? I live in rural Ireland and veganism is growing steadily here. I'm not sure of the billboard campaign. I wonder if, who is it? Is it Sharon? Shannon? Who's the woman who has the little sanctuary? Eden Sanctuary? Is that what it's called? I was there. And yeah, it's a lovely place. There are lots of really wonderful things happening in Ireland. People have been asking us about an Ireland vegan CPG trip, and that would be fun. So what do I think? I think any kind of educational campaign, billboard campaign, I think billboards are really powerful. I think anything that gets in people's faces that force them to see something differently is a good thing. So I can't speak to the specific campaign. And there are some billboards, here. I mean, and there's organizations who do bus campaigns and train, for the commuters. I think those things are brilliant. The work that's being done in New York, there was a campaign that the mayor's office, there's a whole, arm in the mayor's office that's specifically on animal issues, which is really phenomenal. And there was a campaign that I loved it so much. I won't try and describe it because I won't do it justice. But I love those kinds of things, especially where people are, it's a captive audience. If they're sitting in a train, if they're sitting in a bus, if they're standing waiting for a bus or a taxi, or they're driving and they see a billboard. So you'd have to give me some more specifics to be able to speak to it directly, but I think education and outreach, it's all part of it. There's not one answer. There really are so many different ways to go about the work that animals need us to do on their behalf. Do I think some things are more effective than others? Sure. Do I think certain tactics are more effective than others? Absolutely. And we will be talking about that in the conference. But I really do believe that the things that are the most effective as individual advocates are the things that we enjoy, that we feel good about, that we have skills in, and that bring us also some aspect of being fed rather than being depleted. I don't think we can sustain a movement or advocacy at all on things that actually deplete us. I personally don't want to be a martyr, because any martyr I know is dead. So I don't want to do things that, and I don't think it's effective, that maybe I think, is going to make me feel better about what it is I'm doing, when really doesn't have a lot of efficacy. But I feel better about what I'm doing, and we can all pat each other on the back, and we can look at social media pictures and say, oh, that's awesome. That to me smacks more of martyrdom and potential ego rather than efficacy. So those are the questions I think we have to ask ourselves when we choose the type of advocacy we want to get involved in. Is it effective? What's my motive? What's my intention behind this? What are the effects of it? Can I see any measurable effects? I mean, these are the kinds of questions that we're going to ask in the conference in Compassion and Action in August. So you better come. Got work to do. Yes, Joanne says Eden Farm Sanctuary. It's gotten a lot of attention in national and local media, and I believe it's being extended to London. Many thanks. Come to Ireland. I've been to Ireland. I've been to Ireland twice. I love Ireland. I would absolutely go back to Ireland. It's my people. It's where my people are from. Irish right here, and Scottish, and Italian, and apparently some German. I have to keep digging, but apparently I did some of the ancestry examination, and I think I might have some German ancestry as well, which was a surprise to me, but definitely Irish. That's the core. So any other questions? You're gonna make me go over to Instagram because they have questions. They have so many questions. I ain't gonna sit here if you don't have questions, because Instagram people have questions. Sun is setting, my leg is burning, but it's warm, so I'm happy. So again, those of you who are already coming to the Compassion and Action Conference, those of you who are already coming on any of the CPG trips, I really encourage you to share the conference graphic with your followers, put it on your Facebook page. For those who sign up for the conference, there's actually a graphic on the thank you page and on your thank you email that asks you to just save that graphic and share it. The more you can spread the word helps me. The hardest part of putting on these conferences, to be really honest with you, the part that I enjoy the most is creating the content. But right now, my day, the time in my day that I can spend focusing on content is so minuscule compared to the work I have to do around marketing. And I am looking to get some help in it because it's exhausting to me, and it's just not the fun part for me. I don't like the marketing part. I don't dislike it. I just don't like it. Does that make sense? Can I not like it and also not dislike it at the same time? I say that because I want to build the content. That's really where I see my skills being and my interest. And I want to just create the best experience possible for those of you who are coming. So that's why I'm encouraging everybody who's already coming to share the conference with people and encourage them to come as well. And anybody you know who came last year, give them a little nudge. But the signups are definitely coming in, and we're starting to fill up the Friday Night Platinum event here at my house, which is lovely. But you're all so quiet. If you have nothing else, I am going. I'm going to count to 5, and if you have nothing else, then I am out of here, and this is the last time you're going to see me for a few days. 3. This is it. 4. It's awkward. 4. Okay, that's it. Have a wonderful night. Thank you for all of your time. And if you have any more questions, you can always put them below. And I know other people will be answering as well. Thanks everyone for the animals. This is Colleen Patrick-Goudreau. Thanks for watching.